Hi, this is Craig Lane with Health Alchemy Video Blog Week 7. This week we're going to focus on the mind of nature. And albeit nature may not have a mind, nevertheless, nature does have a certain wisdom. And in that wisdom, we see something that a famous Zen master once said, everything is perfectly managed in the unborn. And I talk about the mind of nature because I run across people asking me, what do you think of this supplement? What do you think of this? And the latest one was a probiotic supplement that I thought, as probiotics go, looked pretty good. But there's always to me, there's a bigger issue at hand when we're looking at things like this, and it's that, can a human mind ever come up with the totality that nature can? In other words, if I'm looking for a probiotic supplement, I'm looking for something that is as close to nature as possible. So ideally like sauerkraut, yogurt, kefir, or a concentrate taken thereof is going to be my first choice. So I stick with a few companies that pretty much stick with food. For example, Garden of Life has a supplement called Primal Defense. It's based from a concentrate and a culture of soil-based microorganisms. The soil is where the microorganisms come from. They grow on the plants, and we have a certain need for them in our bodies, apparently. Then they also have a supplement that's based on a kefir culture. Again, something based in nature. There wasn't a man saying, I'm going to put X units of Lactobacillus acidophilus, I'm going to put Y units of Bifidobacteria bifidum, Lactobacillus plantarum, Lactobacillus rudii. And who's to say that this mind that contrives up this formulation isn't going to have some long-term side effect? Granted, we have to take things and start somewhere, but me personally, in over 20 years of nutrition and health, I'd say my experience shows me that the best long-term outcomes for health come from things from nature and concentrates from nature. Standard Process Incorporated is another supplement company that they concentrate down foods that are in their raw state, high in nutrients and minerals, and they concentrate them down. I'll choose a B vitamin concentrate from a food versus a B vitamin from coal tar waste. So for many of you this is going to be a shock, but most of your supplements in the quote-unquote health food store are nothing more than derivatives of someone else's industrial waste, i.e. most B vitamins are from coal tar waste as their starting point, or they're made by a pharmaceutical with unknown starter material, probably a chemical, or your ascorbic acid, which is a whole another separate video blog and conversation. That ascorbic acid, by the way, is a chemical. It is not vitamin C. A vitamin is a living process. A vitamin is not a noun. A vitamin is a verb. Vital amine. Vitamin is a vital process occurring. So when we measure a vitamin, we are measuring a vital process occurring in the body. So when we look at vitamin C, we can only see its after effects. We can never truly measure the whole food version. We can measure markers of it, but ultimately the human mind is too limited to measure ultimately what a vitamin is. We do know that vitamin C helps with connective tissue. We do know that it acts as an antioxidant, mainly through ascorbic acid. We do know that it helps with an enzyme called tyrosinase, which helps process tyrosine. We do know there's a bioflavonoid component to it that helps strengthen cell membranes. This is just a short list of some of the things that vitamin C does. But these are byproducts of what it is. I call vitamin C the freshness vitamin because as food ages, its vitamin C tends to leave. Once you pick a fruit or a vegetable, most vegetables, within a few days, you'll see a significant drop in vitamin C levels. Vitamin E is another example. The chemists were able to isolate tocopherol, and then industry said, wow, I can isolate this and manufacture tocopherols. Well, tocopherol, again, is not vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant. It helps in DNA stabilization. It helps in a lot of other things that I don't know, but I do know we can measure and look at a textbook and see its effects in the human body when it's deficient and what it helps with when you add it back. The same with the B vitamins. Many people don't know that thiamine, or B1, has a fat-soluble cofactor called vitamin B4. Why is vitamin B4 not measured? Because you can't measure it. It's a fat-soluble activator. It used to be called pigeon heart block factor, and it can only be from a food. So people taking synthetic B vitamins, which I am all for, if we treat them like a drug and say we have certain drug-like effects that we can use for a period of time, whether it be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but we want to get off them. Just like when we take antibiotics, it's the medicine for the problem, i.e. a certain overgrowth of a certain type of bacteria, and we're willing to sacrifice the rest of the flora in the gut, but we need to get off the medicine, just like we need to stop the synthetic vitamins after a certain period of time, after they've done their effect, the desired effect. Then we go back to food with all of its synergistic cofactors and phytonutrients in which we will never know. So the mind of nature. The next thing I want to talk about as part of this blog is what I call stereoisomers. There is evidence that when you have these two hands look identical. But just like you can have a screw screwing one way or the other way. So molecules, we have left-handed molecules and right-handed molecules. You'll see this all over the supplement industry. L-tryptophan, L-glutamine. That means levulo-rotated. Or D form means another rotation. So what we're looking at here is synthetic supplements. There is evidence that they are the stereoisomer of the real thing in nature. Just as a trans fat is optimally a stereoisomer of a real fat, which is a cis fat, a cis bond, not a trans bond. So I may or may not be getting all the terms exactly right because I'm not looking in my textbooks, nor have I cared to memorize that, but that's not what's important. What I'm pointing at here are processes in nature which are natural to the human body, to the human DNA, to the human processing, to the human intelligence. These are things that are natural to humans, and they don't exhibit long-term deficiencies due to the body having to process the chemical or the stereoisomer. So there's different forms of sugar, for example. Glucose has different forms. There's a L and a D form. Some are used for different things than others back in the day. It's not talked about much. So if you're going to give some forms of amino acids, each stereoisomer, in other words, one left or right-handed molecule, it can look exactly the same, but it's mirror image. So can you see that this hand is only going to fit in a left-handed glove, and this hand is only going to fit in a right-handed glove. If I try and fit it in, it's not going to fit. So certain things aren't going to fit nor be recognized by the human body because they just don't fit. And then we have problems. Just like trans fats are known to be carcinogenic, the body tends to treat them sort of like a saturated fat because it's the closest thing that the body can identify. Just like if we're zinc deficient, the body will say, cadmium from car exhaust and other places, which is a heavy metal, sort of looks like zinc, so I'll use it in place of zinc because most of us are zinc deficient due to not getting enough trace minerals in our diet. Same thing with other minerals. Most of us aren't getting the right form of calcium in our diet because we're eating too much cooked food, and minerals aren't absorbed well from cooked or overheated foods, nor do we absorb rocks very well, and most calcium supplements, carbonate forms, oxide forms, sulfate forms, are basically ground up rocks. So the body can't utilize this. We end up being calcified, and then when we really need calcium, we might use lead from the environment because it's sort of looks the same to the body on some primitive level. So I'm talking about the mind of nature. I want to talk about understanding that vitamins are verbs, they're processes. So when you see a runner, for example, running down the track, sort of like a vitamin, we can take a snapshot and say that's the runner in the process of running. But we would not dare say that that is the runner. We would say that is the runner in the process of running. But same thing with vitamins. When we measure something like the mineral status in the body or a vitamin, vitamins and minerals are part of larger complexes. They're bound to things like when you see HDL or LDL, cholesterol, they are not cholesterol. LDL means low density lipoprotein. So they carry cholesterol and other things, but in our myopic little world, we're not even talking about the right thing. It drives me crazy to see people come in with lab work and my HDL cholesterol is too low, my LDL cholesterol is too high. It's bullshit. LDL is a low density lipoprotein. In other words, lipo meaning fat, protein meaning protein. It's a fat protein complex that carries nutrients. So when we look at minerals, they're usually not floating around in the body, they're usually bound to things. The body is more intelligent than just to have minerals floating around in a free state, because that can cause problems. Because they're attracted to various things. Calcium is attracted to various things. Iron is attracted to various things. Magnesium is attracted to various things. Oxygen is attracted to various things. Everything's attracted to other things, so it's about relationships. And so we need to get out of this simpleton sort of framework and really look at the greatest wisdom comes from nature, not from a human mind. And if the human mind is somehow channeling nature, I say great. But check it against your own gut, against your own heart and your own mind, and see if that channel works for you. Oh, that's the basis of muscle testing. That's a whole other conversation. So trust the mind of nature. Get your vitamins and your minerals from food and start researching. 99% of your supplements out there in the health food store are not food. You're getting chemicals put into a tiny bit of a food base. 99% guaranteed. We have a few brands that say and clearly state we are making stuff from food. I'll name a few here, but by no means is this the end all. Standard Process Incorporated, which you cannot buy in a store. You must get through a licensed practitioner. Garden of Life, Health Force Nutritionals, Synergy. There's a couple of others that are out there that are fantastic too. Gaia's a great herbal supplier. New Chapter has some great herbs. Their supplements, still fermented synthetic vitamins, I'm not sure about. So trust the mind of nature and make an appointment with Health Alchemy, and we'll help you get a supplement program, a diet program, a nutrition program that's based in something from nature, which is going to work. And trust the mind of nature more than a human mind when it comes to formulations, especially with your probiotics and your multivitamins and your multiminerals. Craig Lane signing out with Health Alchemy. Please go to healthalchemy.com for we do web visits, we do Skype, we do phone, email, and we also do in-person visits. Have a beautiful day.